All right, so we're gonna just kind of start with some breathing. So have your feet right under your knees. Let your hands rest on your lap. But make sure your sitting bones are nice and comfortable on the chair. So the right side and the left side kind of even if you can. And then let's just lean forward a little bit. You can feel that you come onto the front edge of your sitting bones. And then let's lean back a little bit. You can feel you come onto the back edge of your sitting bones. And then let's find that space right in between. So you're like right in the middle of your sitting bones. So what this means is your shoulders are right above your hips. Instead of being a little forward or a little backward, your shoulders are right above your hips. And then relax your neck and your head. So for many of us, our default position with the head is like this. Because we kind of round forward a little bit. I'll turn sideways. So we kind of round forward a little bit, and then the head kind of comes up like this. So what happens is the back of the neck gets very short, and the front of the neck gets locked in this really lengthened position. So when we sit right on the sitting bones and have the shoulders over the hips, we're able to lengthen the back of the neck a little bit. Now, if you're someone for whom this is your natural position, when you come up like this, you might actually feel like you can't get a lot of breath, like your throat is a little bit narrower when you do this. And the reality is, it is a little bit narrower, but it's a little more natural as well. So there's all these things to our seated posture. Okay, so once we're here, I'm going to ask you to close your eyes and just begin to notice your breath. Notice the way the air is moving in and out of your body. And for those of us here, we're in masks, so there's probably not a lot of difference in the temperature of the air when we're inhaling and exhaling. For those of you at home, notice the way the air, the temperature, how it's different when you breathe in and when you breathe out. It's a little cooler on the inhalations, a little warmer on the exhalations. And notice if you can, breathe in and out through your nose. And if that's really hard to do, you can breathe in through your nose and out through pursed lips, like you're blowing out a candle. Breathing in through the nose is super important for many reasons. The physical reason for that is that the air gets warmed and cooled appropriately and it gets filtered. But there's also an effect on your nervous system. When you breathe through your mouth, you stay in that more stressed response. When you breathe in and out through your nose, or at least breathe in through your nose, you're actually stimulating the relaxation response, which makes your stress level go down a bit. So notice if your breath is fast or slow this morning, if it's shallow or deep. Notice if you can breathe in and out equally and evenly through the right side and left side, or if one side is a little more open than the other. And begin to deepen your breath so that as you inhale, you're pulling air way down into the lower part of the lungs. And as you pull that air down, your belly expands, your ribcage expands. And as you breathe out, engage your belly muscles a little bit. Pull your navel in toward your spine. And see if you can take a little longer to exhale than it takes you to inhale. And then to return to the inhalation, simply soften the belly and allow the belly to expand. Let the lungs fill all the way. So you might take a little longer to fill in the breath. And a little longer on the exhalation as well. So we're trying to lengthen each breath in and each breath out. Let's take just a couple more of these long, slow, deep breaths. And then go back to your natural rhythm, the natural flow of breath. And you can let your eyes gently open. Good. We'll continue to work a little bit here, a little bit more here with the breath as well. So I'm going to ask you to take your hands and place them on your lower ribs. Okay, so see if you can find your lower ribs. So you don't want to be down by your waist. You want to be up on the ribs. If it's really hard for you to get your hands kind of out like this, you can maybe cross them a little bit. So you want to feel the sides of the rib cage, right, as best you can. Okay, so now when you breathe in, breathe in deeply and see if you can breathe into the expand out to the side. And then as you breathe out, you're going back in. So I want you to continue to do that a little bit. So nice, slow, deep breaths, feeling the sides of the ribs. So it's like you're bellying out, your rib cage is bellying out like this, and then coming back in. Nose. Yep, if you can. If you have asthma or any breathing issue that makes it difficult for you to do that, you can breathe out through your mouth. Yep. Yes. Yep. If you can. Okay. Can you all feel your rib cage expanding and contracting? Good. Okay. Yes. All right. So release your hands from your ribs now. We're going to do a little bit more to open up through the side of the rib cage. So let's just take the right arm, and as you inhale, just bring that all the way up. And as you exhale, just bring it all the way down. Start at the starting position. So slow and steady. Breathe in as you come up and lean a little bit into that left side. And then as you slowly breathe out, just bring the arm down. Now, as you're doing this, I want you to focus on this side of the rib cage. So if you want, take your left hand and bring it across your body to that right lower ribs, right? So breathe in and breathe out. If you can feel that movement, breathing in. Now, if it's difficult to get your arm up overhead, just do the best you can. Just raise your arm as far as you can. A couple more of these. Breathe into that right side of the rib cage and breathe out. And one more time, breathe in and breathe out. Great. And let's release that. And we're going to go into the other side. So same thing. Take the whole inhalation to take that left arm up. And the whole exhalation to bring that left arm down. You can take your right hand over if you'd like, place it on your rib cage, just so you can feel the ribs. We don't often think about sending the breath way down into the lower part of the rib cage. You get a whole lot more space, a whole lot more breath in and out when we can do it like this. So breathing in and breathing out. Let's do two more. This is one. Great, and then last one. Excellent. And come all the way down and release your arms. Okay, so bring your feet a little wider than your hips and make sure you're right up near the front of your chair. So what we're going to do here, I want you to focus on sort of this upper space in your back, like right in this area here. So as we breathe in, we're going to squeeze the shoulder blades together and bring the chest forward. And as we breathe out, we're going to round through that upper spine. So breathing in, we're coming forward and squeezing the shoulder blades together. And as we breathe out, we're rounding through the spine. I'll sit sideways so you can see that movement. So there's movement in the rest of your spine as well, but we're really focusing on that space right up between the shoulder blades. And it's a nice little movement. So if you're squeezing so hard that something hurts back there, just back off a little bit. If you're rounding so that it just feels a little uncomfortable, again, you can just back off a little bit. Just breathing in and breathing out. Let's do a couple more of these. How about last one? We're going to finish on an inhalation, right? So we're finishing on that nice expanded position, and then just return to sort of that neutral position. So breathe in and breathe out. Just notice your rib cage now. Notice what you can feel in your body. And then bring your feet a little closer together. I'm going to start with the right hand. Now we're going to do a little bit of diagonal stretching for the body as well. So take your right hand way down to the right side. And as you breathe in, you're going to sweep it up and across your body and twist a little bit, like you could reach the ceiling on that side. And then slowly bring that arm down and see if you can twist a little bit to the right. So we're just breathing into the left and up with the arm, and breathing out and down. Now keep your arm reaching out in front of you as best you can too. So we're lengthening that arm. Good. In and out through the nose if that's possible again. Just two more of these. Taking that nice deep breath in. See if you can focus on that side of the rib cage, right? So that right side of the rib cage is expanding and contracting. Great. Excellent. And then we'll bring that to the left. And then as you breathe in, bring it to the right. Go up it a little bit of a diagonal. And then as you exhale, come back down. So we're working the muscles in the arms and shoulders for sure. And we're stretching the muscles in the back and the muscles around the ribs. You don't think about having muscles in and around your ribs, but you do between each rib. There's something called the intercostal muscles, and that just means muscle between the ribs. Intercostal just means between the ribs. And so we're breathing in and breathing out and getting a little more space in that left side of the last one coming up. So we're breathing in and going all the way up and breathing out and coming all the way back down. Great. And then we're going to return the hand to the lap. Close your eyes for a moment. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe deeply, pulling the air way down into the lower lobes of the lungs. You can let your eyes drift open. Okay, we're going to get both arms. So we're going to sweep the arms forward and way up overhead. And as you breathe out, we're going to come forward. See if you can bring your belly down toward your thighs and your hands down toward the floor. So breathe in and come way up. And you can even bend back a little bit if that feels okay. And then as you breathe out, we're going to come all the way forward. Now, if coming forward, if bending forward at the waist is comfortable for you, if you feel a little lightheaded or just feels like it's making your heart beat a little too fast, you don't have to come forward. You can release your arms. You don't have to do the arms. I'll show you what that looks like. So this would be doing it without the arms if that's more comfortable. All right, so your choice. And then coming forward. How about we do two more? As you come up now, lift up a little higher. So we're trying to get that rib cage expanded. And as you come forward, just gently sweep down toward one, you guys, coming all the way up and all the way forward. Great. And then let's just come right back up to a normal, natural seated position. Okay. So we've gone up. Now we're going to go kind of a little bit side to side. So we're going to take the right arm and bring it forward, like you're saying, stop. Take your left arm and pull back, like pulling back like on a lawnmower, right? You're trying to start that. And then what we're going to do is twist the body a little bit more to the left. And then we're going to switch, right? So we're just going to go back and forth. Now you don't have to breathe in when you do one arm and out when you do the other. We're just making it a nice, gentle breath. So see if you can get the arm forward and the other arm back and squeeze in the shoulder blade area as you pull back. If you're leaning forward, just a couple more. This looks great. So we're getting more space in that rib cage. How about this is our last one? Beautiful. And then come right back to neutral position. Okay, so got one more thing we're going to do here. Let's sweep the right arm out to the side and all the way up overhead. Okay, get the arm up. And if you're down here, that's fine. Just go as high as you can. Take your left hand and see if you can make a little bracelet around your right wrist. So you get your, I find that my thumb and my second finger, my middle finger, make an easier bracelet here. So what we're going to do now is using this left arm, we're going to pull that right arm over to the left a little bit. Holding here, breathe in, breathe out. So you can see my elbow is a little bit bent because that's what works for my shoulder. If you can have your arm straight, go ahead and do that. If your arm is down here, that's okay too. So there's so many different positions we can be in. What I want you to focus on is what's happening out here in the side of the body. Okay, so even if your arm is down here, you're going to feel a little something in that side of the body. Let's take one more breath here. And then we'll come all the way up and release the arms, bring them all the way down. Ooh, take a breath in and breath out. Okay, let's do the same thing on the left. So take your left arm out to the side, bring it up as high as you can. And then we're going to take that right arm, make a little brace, thumb and one of your fingers on that right side. And we're gently going to pull that over, breathing in and breathing out. Inhaling and exhaling so you can feel what's happening here on the left side of the body. The left rib cage is kind of expanding out. As full and deep a breath as you can make it. Let's take 2 more breaths here. Again, if this is bothering your shoulder, you can come down a little bit. You can bend your elbow. If you're really feeling like you can get a good stretch there, you can straighten that arm a little bit. Just make sure you're not holding your breath, right? So if you're holding your breath, you're not getting the benefit of this in the ribs. And with your next exhale, we're going to slowly release and come all the way down. Right. Roll those shoulders forward, out, back, and down a couple of times. Okay. Take your hands once again and find the bottom of your rib cage. We're just going to do a little comparison, right? So find the bottom of your rib cage. It's a little bit above your waist. And then let's breathe in and out and see if you can breathe right into your hands. And you can do this with your eyes closed or open, whatever feels most comfortable. What I'd like you to do is recognize the movement underneath your hands. Is it easier to feel your rib cage now? So for many of us, we're going to feel a little more movement here because we're a bit tight. This is a great thing. Most of us are a little bit tighter around the rib cage in the morning because we've been sleeping. We haven't been breathing very deeply. When we sleep, we breathe very shallowly. And then you can release your mouth. All right. Did anybody notice a difference in what you could feel? It's kind of interesting, yeah? Could you all at home, could you feel that as well? Yep, some of you could. Good. Excellent. Okay. So breathe, the breath we don't spend enough time on because it's something that's going to happen anyway. But when we breathe deeply, getting more oxygen into the body, that helps the whole body. So the muscles in the arms, the muscles in the legs, the circulation in the hands and feet, as the weather is getting colder, feet can get a little chilly, hands might be feeling a little arthritic or a little chilly, but the more we can breathe, the better the exchange of oxygen in the body. So that's going to facilitate better circulation in those areas. And it's also going to help us to move a little bit more. All right, so let's focus on those fingers. We're going to stretch and expand, breathing in and breathing out, right? Nice, slow, easy breaths in and out. And then we'll circle at the wrists. Great. And reverse those wrist circles. It's nice to work the joints from the little ones to the big ones and then extend your arms. Pardon me, we're just going to bend as we tap the shoulders. Again, breathing in, breathing out. Watch your posture that you're not kind of slouching in your chair, still sitting up nice and tall. And the next time that you tap your shoulders, bring your arms out to the side. So you've got your elbows lifted. And once again, we're just going to extend and bend just a couple times before we go up overhead. Okay, so next time you tap your shoulders, you're going to take your hands right up overhead and come down. Let's go out to the sides and up overhead. And again, out to the sides. So watch your breathing, right? So it doesn't matter when you inhale and exhale, as long as your breath is smooth and easy. There's no holding breath. So just a couple more. Good. How about we make this our last one? We're going to go right up overhead. Bring your hands down to your shoulders. Let's kayak the arms a bit. So again, all of this is working the shoulders and the back and the chest, but it's also working the sides of the ribs and the back of the ribs to get a little more air in there as well. And reverse direction. Great. Okay. Upper body feel right now. Stimulated. Good. You feel a little looser. Yeah. Do your hands feel a little warmer for those who have cold hands? Yeah. I don't know about you, but sometimes I'll get like a little bit of tingling in an arm, especially if I've had a muscle that's been kind of giving me some trouble. It makes feel kind of tingly and warm, and just an increase in the blood flow, which is a good thing. Okay, so let's shift focus. We're going to move down to the feet. So if you want to extend your right leg, we're going to have the heel on the floor and then squeeze and extend your toes. So if you're not in your shoes, if you're able to be out of your shoes, you're going to get a much better flex and extend. So I'm just showing you with my hand what that looks like. In the shoes, of course, we're limited by the shoe, but that's okay. It's still not a bad thing to do. So sitting up nice and tall, we're going to start to point and flex the foot. So it's like you're trying to bring your big toe to the floor, and then your heel to the floor, and then we'll start to circle at the ankle there, and reverse direction. Excellent. Oh, I hear some ankle music out there. That's always nice. And then let's bring that heel to the floor. Take your hands alongside your hips. This just assures that we sit up kind of tall. It gives a little perspective on where we are in space. Pull your belly in a little bit. So we're engaging those abdominal muscles. And then we're going to bend and extend that leg. Right? So nice and slow and steady. Bringing the foot underneath the chair if you can. Yeah. And now if you need a little rest here, if your leg muscles are, this is way more than I bargained for this morning, you can put your heel on the floor. You can kind of rest your foot a little bit. Okay, next time you extend, let's hold here. So lift a little bit higher if you can, right? And now if you're way down here, that's fine. If this is the highest we can lift on this side, go for it. So we really want to engage the muscles here in the thigh. These are your quadriceps muscles. These are the muscles up and down the stairs, getting on and off the chair, in and out of the car, all those good things. Breathing in, breathing out. Notice if your breath is getting a little harder to breathe, right? If your heartbeat is getting a little bit faster. And if those muscles, anybody getting some shaking, a little bit of shaking in the leg? Yes, that means those muscles are working really hard. Can you do just one more breath? Slowly lower that down. Excellent. Bend your knee, give that leg a little massage. So we just really worked those quadriceps muscles there. Give them a little thank you. Allow that work. All right, and then we'll extend that leg once again. And with the leg extended now, rotate your foot and your knee and your hip in and out, right? So we generally have a lot more rotation in the ankle joint than we do in the hip joint. And we definitely have less rotation in the knee joint. The knee isn't, people call it a hinge joint, you know, that it just kind of opens and closes like that. But it really does have a little bit of side-to-side movement, a little bit of shearing movement, but not a lot, okay? So if we're engaging properly, we should see rotation all the way up. I'm feeling and seeing a little bit here in my knee. I'm definitely feeling it up here in my hip. Of course, I can see it in my ankle. Good. Okay, now the next time that you rotate your leg out to the little toe side, and for you all, when you look at your foot, it should be like 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, if that was the hand of a clock. Hold the foot in that position. So that means the whole leg is rotated out that way. So not up here. It's going to be rotated out as far as it'll go. Have your hands on the chair and press into your hands a little bit so that it gives your spine some support so you can feel yourself getting a little taller. Pull your belly in And then we're going to lift and lower this leg with the foot out in that 1 or 2 o'clock position, right? So, but the movement is happening from way up here in the hip and in the upper thigh, right? So you might feel it in the groin, you might feel it in the inner thigh a little bit. Now you're going to hold that leg up, right? So you don't want to hold it up as high as you can go. Bring it down by about 30%. Keep that foot out to the side. And where we should be feeling that now is on the inner part of that thigh. We're working a little slip of the quadriceps muscle in there, right? This muscle is often weaker for most of us than the outside muscle in the leg. And what happens is that can pull the kneecap off its track and give us some knee problems. It can also make your hip track a little bit funny as well. So let's take one more breath if we can. I know we've been holding this for about half an hour. Yeah, I'm going to slowly lower that leg all the way down. Whew, wow. Bend that knee, give that leg a nice massage. So the muscles in your thigh, just kind of as a quick review, so they're called the quadriceps muscles, and the reason they're called that is because there are 4 of them. And 2 of them go right down the center of your leg, and 1 is a little on the outside of the leg, and 1 is a little on the inside of the leg. So if you can picture 4 muscles, 2 of them work together right down the center, and then 1 works on the outside, 1 works on the inside. When they're strong, when all the quadriceps muscles are strong, they work together to extend your leg with your knee tracking right where it's supposed to go. So this is what they do. This is for kicking the ball, right? That's what those muscles do. When we've got a little more tightness in one side, and again, I said it before, for most of us, we're a little tighter out here in the outer part of those quadriceps. A little bit more on that side, and it can start to rub in a certain way, starts to wear away the cartilage. It starts to give us some knee arthritis, right? So a lot of, before we get to the point where we need to have an intervention, a lot of it is within our control just by strengthening the muscles in the legs and paying attention to it. So those exercises are on the other side. So let's do this, guys. Let's extend that leg. We'll start with the toes. So squeezing. So here's my foot. I'm just giving everybody a visual because you can't see my foot here. So I'm squeezing and extending as best I can inside my shoe. And, you know, when you do this at home, this is great. I love doing this when I watch TV. I do tons of exercises when I'm watching TV. My husband says, can't you ever sit still? No, I can't ever sit still. I have to be moving something. And this is great because, you know, you're sitting there just relaxing anyway. So we'll point and flex the foot. Okay. And notice if this foot works a little different than the other. I didn't mention that when we were doing the toes, but you know, you'll often find that when you're doing this exercise, that maybe it's 1 or 2 toes on one foot, or maybe it's the ankle in general, but there's generally going to be a difference. So let's circle around. And again, if this is too much, you can do this with your foot on the floor. You don't have to have the leg raised if it's just a little too much to ask of that leg this morning. Let's reverse direction for a couple of rotations. Looks good. Excellent. And then we'll bring that heel to the floor. Okay, so with the hands right alongside your hips, sit up nice and tall, pull your belly in a little bit, and then we're going to kick this leg as well. So as you're doing this, remember I just had that conversation with you about the quadriceps muscles and how there are 4 of them. See if you can picture in your mind's eye, as you're kicking this leg, see if you can picture all 4 of those muscles working really strongly together. They're a cohesive unit, right? Nobody's doing more than the other one. Okay, next time you extend, can you hold here? So remember, have your hands here. That keeps your spine up nice and tall. Pull your belly in a little bit and breathe. Oh, right? That was the part, the breathing. That's the part we always forget. So we should be feeling a little bit of sensation here in those quadriceps muscles right down the front of the thigh. Need a little shaking, a little burning kind of feeling. Those are all good signs that the muscles are doing their job, right? So a muscle has just so much energy, and when it starts to get low on energy, it's like a car that's sputtering when it's low on gasoline. And that sputtering can be the tingle, the burning, the shaking. The shaking I often think of as the sputtering of the gasoline. Okay, so how about we say this is it for breath, and we're going to lower that leg down. Whew. Wow. Let's just give that thigh a little massage. Thank you, thigh, for all of that work. Okay, good. All right, let's extend that leg again. And then thinking about the interaction of all the joints here in this leg, so your ankle, your knee, your hip, we're going to rotate the leg in and out or out and in. So keeping the knee straight, that ensures that you have, that you're distributing the rotation among all three joints evenly. Also, with the knee straight, you're not going to tweak your knee. Sometimes with the knee bent, I can go a little far and I could actually tweak my knee a little bit. So we're just kind of doing this with the whole leg extended. Now, the next time you rotate out to the little toe side, let's hold it there. And again, for you guys, you should be seeing your foot in like the 11 or 10 o'clock position, something like that. And then we're going to bring the hands alongside the hips, sit up nice and tall. Press into your hands because that'll get you a little bit taller here. Pull your belly in, and we're going to lift and lower this leg. Lift and lower. Now, as you're lifting and lowering, I want you to visualize those muscles. Remember, I was talking about the quadriceps. This is working that inner quadriceps muscle a little bit more. And the next time that you lift, you're going to hold here and breathe. So press out through your heel, pull your toes toward your knee. Breathe in, breathe out. Now, if this is causing like a lot of anxiety in your body, if you're kind of rounding your shoulders, just lower your heel a little bit. That's okay. You can even have the heel resting on the floor if it's a little too much. Keep breathing. Let's do 2 more breaths here. So this muscle is probably complaining quite a bit at this point. How about last breath out right now? And then slowly lower that down. Great. Bend that leg. Let's give that a little bit of a massage. All right. Thank you, thighs, for waking up. How are we doing? Legs all awake now? Yeah? Let's do just one more thing. Yeah. Yes. Yes. So, Dot, that's a great question. So when you have a hip replacement, the part that they put in there does not have necessarily the same range of movement that your original part does. Same thing with a knee. Most people who have a knee replacement, they go from being able to do this to that's it. Yeah, because the original part has much greater range of movement for most of us. Now, depending on when you have the hip replacement, the limitation in your ability to go out could be that you just haven't regained that yet. So how far out are you from your hip replacement? Yeah. Okay. So you're where you're going to be. If you were 9 weeks, 11, 11, 11. Okay. All right. Well, I will never forget that now either. Yeah, you've regained all of the mobility you're going to have in that hip in terms of being able to rotate it like that. And I think it's probably just a consequence of the mechanical structure of the hip joint that they put in. Yeah, yeah. All right, good. Okay, let's get we're going to come up to standing. We're going to get doing a little bit more work now for the hips and legs. So y'all remember we've been working on this kind of coming up by going forward, right? So we're going to do the same thing today. Anybody need a review on that, or are we good? Okay. So we're going to just place the hands on the thighs, and you're going to lean forward, shift your weight into your feet. Now, as you shift your weight into your feet, see if you can come forward a little bit more. Lift your bum off the chair, and then slowly come up. Right? Let's try that again. So I like to back up, get nice and close to the back of the chair. We're going to sit down really slowly. So come down till you're almost there. Y'all are sitting down. How about you guys? Oh, you're all up. Good. Okay. So we're going to come right down, right down, right down, and then we're going to slowly sit down. Okay, let's try that again. So come up to the front edge of your chair. Have your feet, if your feet are a little wider than your hips, this makes it easier. And if your toes are angled slightly out, that also is a little more helpful in getting you up. So hands on your thighs, lean forward. Now keep coming forward as you bring your backside up off the chair. And then once your backside is up off the chair, then really slowly straighten your legs. Okay, we're going to try that one more time. So come back, don't sit down all the way. So this is what builds more strength in those quadriceps muscles. Bend your knees. Come down till you're almost seated, but don't sit. Right? So this is a little bit of a hover. Shift your weight into your heels. Okay. And now see if you can slowly sit down without flopping onto the chair. Yeah, you might want to just make sure you know where that chair is. Good. All right. A little harder to do when you do it slowly. So here's I'll kind of give you this information as to why it can be more challenging sitting down, is that when I come forward and I'm straightening my legs, I'm engaging the muscles here in the thighs, because these thigh muscles, if you remember, their job is to straighten the knee. So when I'm doing this, it's like pressing down on the accelerator. So I'm in go position, right? So the muscles are stronger when I'm accelerating. When I'm coming down, I'm bending here. These muscles are still working, but now they're braking. It's acting like the brake, right? So because if these muscles weren't acting like a brake, guess what would happen? I'd fall right back. So these muscles are going, whoa, whoa. We don't know where that seat is. And then once I touch down, they go, oh, okay, here it is. So the muscles have a little bit harder time in braking than they do in accelerating. So how many have had knee replacement or hip replacement or knee surgery or hip surgery? A lot of people in here, you guys at home, how many of you have had knee or hip replacement or surgery? Just a couple. Okay. So when you're doing your rehab exercises, and you will know this, but this is for the future, for the rest of you. When you're doing your rehab exercises, it's easier to go upstairs, did you notice that? Than to go downstairs. Yeah, right? I know, like remarkable. So even now, 8 months after injury, I can go upstairs fine. I'm still working on going downstairs. It's just not smooth still, because it's harder when the muscles have to do that braking action. So if you want to build strong quadriceps muscles, squatting is the best way to do it, because these muscles are working so hard right now to keep me from falling down onto that chair. So again, if you're watching TV, right, do a couple of squats. Just get up, just squat near your chair and see if you can hold that position. Okay, so we're going to come up to standing, like I said, an hour ago. So have your feet a little wider than your hips. We're going to come forward. So remember, coming forward is a whole lot easier. Get your backside off the chair and then come up to standing. Excellent. All right, so let's do this. We're going to come around and stand behind the back of the chair. Let me make sure these guys can see me okay. Yeah, okay. All right. So can you all see me if I'm standing behind the chair? Okay. So we're going to start with some movements for the hips. So we did ankle work when we were seated. We did knee work. We did a little bit of hip work, but I want to do more now. So holding on to the back of your chair and just having some support here, let's shift the weight into the left side. And then we're going to take the right foot off the floor. I'm going to just stand to the side here for a minute, mostly for the Zoom people. And then we're going to start to circle that knee up and around, right? So here's what that looks like back here. Yeah. And see if you can stand tall, right? Breathe in, breathe out. And if you're going in one direction, let's switch it up, go the other way. Good, are you breathing? Good, and then let's bring that foot back down to the floor. Let's shake out the standing leg a little bit. Just give it a little shake out there. Okay, so same thing on this side. We're going to shift the weight into the right leg, and now we're going to take that left leg up and around. So we're doing some movement here at the hip, right? This is all hip. Breathing in and breathing out. Sometimes the temptation is to go fast. So we're in momentum. So you want to slow that down. And sometimes the temptation is to hold the breath. So you want to make sure your breath is going smoothly. Reverse the direction. Couple more. That looks good. Okay, now we're going to bring that down. Whew. Let's shake out both legs one at a time, huh? There we go. All right. So now, working on this, I'm going to stand sideways so you can see. So we're going to work on the back part of the leg, part of the hip, which is your gluteus maximus. That's the big muscle here. That muscle is, its main function is to propel you forward. So when you're taking a step, it's the muscle back there. There's a lot of other muscles that are working, but that is the muscle of moving forward. So what we're going to do is shift the weight into the left foot. Take your right leg and extend it out behind you with your knee straight and your big toe on the floor. Now, what happens generally is we want to lean forward like this, because this is a bit of a stretch. Press into your hands and stand up tall. If you need to get a little closer to your chair, go ahead and do that. Okay, now take your hand, because it's your own anatomy. Take your hand and place it right on that cheek. Okay, now squeeze that cheek as you lift your big toe off the floor and then lower it down. And do that a few times. So we're going to be doing that to engage those glutes back there. Now, you might feel nothing happening back there, right? If your glutes aren't strong, you might not back there. So lift and lower, breathe in and out. It's a small movement when you're in this position. Okay, let's bring that foot back down to the floor. Do y'all feel that right in the glutes there? Yeah? How does it feel? A little bit more awake, right? Okay, same thing on the other side. I'm going to turn my chair so you can see. So we have that right foot planted on the floor. I'm going to step up nice and close to my chair. Oh, you know what? I can't stand this way because of the microphone. Sorry. I'm going to have to stand this way. Okay, so with your right foot on the floor, we're going to take the left leg extended out. So the knee is straight. The toe is just kind of resting on the floor. Now, try not to lift to one side. Try not to lean forward. So you can always come a little closer to your chair. And then take your hands to the glutes back there and slowly lift and lower. And lift and lower. And breathe as you're doing that. Cutting out. Breathing in and breathing out. Lifting and lowering. Good. We all doing okay? Is it harder on this side? Yeah. Interesting. And some people are saying no. And then we'll lower that back down. Okay, let's shake that out a little bit, one side and then the other. So we all noticed one side was harder than the other, right? Yeah, really normal to do that. What I'd venture to say is the leg that you lead with going upstairs and the leg that you lead with if you're a walker and you're walking along and you get to a curb, whichever foot you tend to put forward going up, you're going to be stronger on that side than on the other. So that's a good piece of homework to do, is to just notice, oh yeah, this leg kind of leads like that. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of work for the outsides of the hips. So Dot was talking about hip replacement a few minutes ago, and what we've done so far are great exercises for after hip replacement and to prevent you from having hip replacement, as are these exercises we're going to do now. So if you shift weight into your right leg, we're going to take the left leg out to the side and down. So it's out to the side and down. Now, see if you can do this without turning your toes out, right? So when I turn my toes out, I can go way up and down. So I'm going to keep my toes facing forward. I'm going to go out a little bit lower. A couple more things. Let's pause for a second here, you guys. So a couple more things. What I might be tending to do is lean to the side, because if I'm way over here, I can get that leg way up. So I want to keep the body upright And the second thing is try to go really slowly, right? So I can kick the leg out with momentum, but it's a whole lot harder with that way. And for these purposes, this is sort of my philosophy on exercise anyway. I'd rather do it the hard way because then I get more benefit and I don't have to do as many. So I'm done faster and I'm getting better benefit. Okay, so holding on to your chair, standing right there behind your chair, shift the weight. Let's do the other leg because we did that one. So shift your weight into your left leg and then keeping the toes facing forward really slowly, lift that leg, right leg out to the side and really slowly down, right? And you don't have to get real far. No, it doesn't have to be super high. We want to feel it here in the side of the hip, down into the leg. Good, a couple more. We're doing okay? Everybody's got that weird look on their face like, this should be over. All right, and then we're going to put that foot down. Let's go back and do a couple more on the other side, just because that other side, I think we went a little fast. Yeah, and maybe we had the foot out to the side a little bit. Okay, how about two more, you guys? 1 and 2. Excellent. Okay, let's shake out legs one at a time. What did you notice there? Did you notice a difference? Yeah? And so did you notice a difference in how high you could lift one leg versus the other? Yeah? Some of you did? Let's see if the Zoom people have the same thing. Oh, some of them are walking around getting coffee. Did you notice the standing leg on one side? Did you notice the difference there? Like when you were standing on your right leg, what did you notice about that? Stronger, one side stronger. Yeah, again, that can be a byproduct of what leg we put forward a lot. Now, Dot, since you've had a hip replacement, did you notice your the original hip was stronger or your aftermarket hip was stronger? It's weaker. Okay, so Dot noticed that the aftermarket hip was a little bit weaker there. Yeah. So, I mean, these are all things to kind of consider when we're going about daily life. Okay, so now for a little bit of stretching. Oh my goodness, it's getting onto that time, right? So for a little bit of stretching here, we're going to stretch the legs. So if you stand up close to your chair, I'm going to have you take your right foot, bring it back, come up on the toes of your foot, and then we're going to slowly bring that heel down to the floor as we bend the front knee. Ooh, nice one, Ellen. And then come all the way up and straighten, and then we're going to bend. As we're bending and then straightening, we're exercising the muscles in the legs. We're also stretching, especially those lower leg muscles on that right side. Next time you bring that heel to the floor, let's hold here and breathe. So breathe in, breathe out. Press down a little bit more into that back heel. Good. So walkers, got some walkers here. You guys walkers? Yeah. So if you're a walker, this is such an important stretch after walking, because when we walk for exercise, we're actually shortening these muscles in the lower leg just by nature of the fact that we're walking. So this is a good thing to do after walking. So breathing in, breathing out. Now keep your heel on the floor. Give your knee a little bit of a bend and then straighten. A couple times, just giving it a little bit of a bend and then straightening it. And then give it a little bit of a bend and hold that little bit of a bend. Keep the heel on the floor. Now, you should feel that the stretch in that lower leg moves down a little closer to the ankle. It gets down into about this area, which is right at the start of your Achilles tendon, right? It's a different part of the lower leg muscle group, but it's an important one to stretch. So don't skip this one. If you're doing your stretches after walking, don't forget to do this one. Okay, and then we're going to just come up on the toes of that foot, step that foot forward, step the other foot back. Same thing. We're going to bring the heel to the floor, bend the front knee, and then straighten. And bring that heel to the floor and straighten and keep going a couple more times. Yeah, great. And the next time you get your heel on the floor, let's hold here and breathe, pressing into that heel. Now, is the stretch on this leg a little different than on the other leg? Yeah. Which one was more intense for you guys? This one, the other one? Yeah. Isn't that interesting too, right? I always like to kind of check that out. For me, my other leg was a little more intense than this one. Okay, so now keeping the heel on the floor here, we're going to bend that back knee a little bit and then straighten. We'll do that a couple of times. So keep your heel on the floor, bend the back knee, and then straighten. And now we're going to bend that knee just a little bit and hold there. So once again, just to show you what this looks like. So I've got the heel on the floor. I've got that knee bent a little bit. I'm feeling it way more down by the heel than I was. The other stretch I feel up here. This one I feel right about down there. So again, it's just a different muscle in that muscle group in the calf area. Important to get them all. The muscle we're stretching right now, I'll just kind of leave you with this little thought. The muscle we're stretching right now with the knee bent and the heel on the floor, this muscle comes down underneath your heel, right? So here's my heel. That muscle comes down underneath the heel. So if you've ever had plantar fasciitis, yeah, this is the guy you got to stretch. This is the guy responsible for that. Okay. Let's come up on the toes, and then we'll step that foot forward. Okay, how are we doing? Anybody else feel taller, or is it just me? I feel much taller, right? Yeah. All right, so let's come around to the front of the chair because I cannot believe the hour goes by so fast. So don't sit quite yet because it's always good to do a little bit of braking, right? A little braking action here. So we're going to bend the knees like you're going to sit, but don't come down quite yet. Come down as far as you can. Shift your weight into your heels and breathe. Good. Can you all feel your leg muscles working? Yeah, make sure you know where that chair is. You don't want to sit in thin air. That would be bad. Okay, and then slowly sit down without plopping. Excellent. Whew. All right, let's give those legs a little bit of a massage here and then make yourself comfortable for a little bit of meditation. So you can sit back into your chair, or you can stay up close to the front of your chair, whatever feels okay. Eyes closed if that's comfortable, or if you have your eyes open, just drop your gaze down at the floor. That just brings your attention into your own body. Breathing in and out through your nose. Or if that's not available for you, breathe in through your nose and out through pursed lips like you're blowing out a candle. Relax your shoulders, your neck, and your jaw. And notice what you feel in your body right now. Notice your muscles. Notice your breath. And as you're noticing your physical body, pay special attention to those quadriceps muscles, those big muscles in the top part of the leg, up in the thigh. Just notice what they feel like. And those muscles in the lower leg, the calf muscles that we just got done stretching. And then shifting your attention to your breath, coming back to where we started at the very beginning of class when we were noticing the breath through the sides of the rib cage. As you breathe in and out, can you feel the sides of your ribs expanding and gently contracting? And returning your awareness to your breath as it moves in and out of your body, what the temperature of the air is as you breathe in and out. How quickly or slowly you're breathing. How shallow or deep the breath is. And take your right hand and place it at the center of your chest, and then cover your right hand with your left. And see if you can breathe in and out to this space underneath your hand, so right in the very front of your chest. Let's take in a full deep breath and let it out with an audible sigh. And then bringing your palms together, take a moment in gratitude for all your life, for all the gifts, whether you've worked hard to get something or somewhere, or all those things that you've been given without any effort. And gratitude to yourself for your wisdom and your light, your compassion and beauty. And then maybe just allowing your eyes to open and taking a moment in appreciation. Yeah. And at home, thank you, thank you. Next week, so enjoy the rest of this